Squid Game just concluded with 3 amazing seasons. It just finished. It was so soon. Shut up. And rumor has it that this lady is bringing the games to America. So I figured I should recreate this latest season of games with a variety of sets before the frontman invades my home country. The first game from both Gi-hoon's playthroughs was Red Light Green Light. Before I even started building this, I knew I was going to need the perfect centerpiece, which is of course the infamous doll. It actually took me making this video to learn that her name is Young-hee.
She's had a name this whole time?
I ordered some Squid Game figures from the most reliable marketplace I know, the TikTok shop. In this order, I got some incredible figures like Gi-hoon and In-ho, the guards, and of course, Young-hee. Now with her, I can complete the build with an iconic scene of Gi-hoon leading the other players to the end. Unfortunately for him, Thanos has other plans. He made this player spill all her Kool-Aid.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh yeah!
Regardless, the first game is done and it's time for the vote. One of the main focal points of the new season is voting. The policy that the guards are now honoring is allowing the players to vote for each round if they wish to continue the games. So I recreated the voting station surrounded by all the guards facing the giant screen which records each vote. Additionally, there is room for the players to go once they vote, which might create some tension.
Played these games before! I said I played these games before!
But as you can see, the vote is tied at 182 to 182, and
Should the initial vote result in a tie, the players will vote again.
so in the meantime, let's just move on. The next game of the season was our first new one, the six-legged pentathlon. This game was the first we saw player 1, In-ho, participate as he gets closer to Gi-hoon. For this round, I decided to do my favorite game from this set, Flying Stone. I built this as 2 separate display pieces, the stone for throwing and the stone for hitting. I think this turned out good and could sit nicely on someone's shelf. And before you ask, yes, I am amazing at flying stones. The last game of Season 2 is the Mingle, and for this set, I decided to use this little timer piece to recreate the room where In-ho gives another player a big old hug until he passes out. From kindness, of course. It's a simple yellow room, but I figured that I could use these more worn pieces in my collection to give off the idea that something crazy went down in there. While this is cool, things are about to get way better when we get to Season 3. But before I finish with Season 2, I thought it'd be a good idea to make a polybag from one of the main side plots, the guard Noelle. I decided to just make her room with tan walls and a gray bed. She returns here every night as she tries to save 246 and rebel against the surgeons. Honestly, it's pretty boring. But it's a great commentary on how by removing the guard's personality, it strips some of their humanity and removing their morals, which allows them to go along with the awful actions taken by the front man. Whoa. Sorry about that. Let's move on. Now we're on to the most recent and final season of Squid Game. This season hits the ground running with my favorite game in the whole show, hide and seek. At this point, Gi-hoon is a hunter trying to catch Daeho after he failed the rebellion, and they find themselves in this amazing ridge that I aim to recreate here. I expanded my base plate to include the 2 sides that the respective players are standing on and the gap in the middle. The bottom is similar to the pattern on the walls with a dark blue filled with stars, and as we move up, we see Daeho looking toward Gi-hoon for mercy. Gi-hoon is standing with his knife beside a fallen key from another player who was caught. Beside it is the green door that the hiders need in order to escape. This one reminds me of the mine from LEGO Minecraft personally, with all the layered rooms. Overall, this came out fantastic in my opinion, and it's by far my favorite right now, but the next game might change that. Speaking of, the next game is Jump Rope, which is pretty reminiscent of glass tiles from the first season. I've chosen the set to be the diorama set of the bunch, and I think the best way to do that is to recreate the bridge and the platform that the players have to cross. The whole thing is suspended in the air, just like in the show. The track's endings mirror the in-game jump they have to make, and the railroad extends out from the White House surrounded by the fences to direct the players. For the house, I used jumper plates to give the door some depth, and the sideways building technique to make the roof as accurate as possible. I've also added this bar that acts as a jump rope that Gi-hoon has to avoid while bringing the baby to the other side. I gave Gi-hoon the baby holder neck piece that I stole from the Mandalorian in Grogu. This set came out great, and can be viewed from any angle, especially with Gi-hoon mid-jump. We've officially reached the final game, Sky Squid Game. Obviously we've seen Squid Game before in Season 1, but not like this. I decided to make the pillars surrounded by dirt and weeds just like it looked like in the show. Now my biggest challenge here will be trying to create a triangle and a circle in LEGO. The circle may be obvious, but I had just as much if not more difficulty with the triangle. In order to get the 3 sides to meet at the perfect angle, I employed these round 1x2 plates to curve the walls inward. I think it turned out pretty good, and I used a similar technique with the circle too. I didn't want to make something that looked quadratic, so I took some small pieces and spun them together to do my best to make the closest thing to a Lego circle. This was surprisingly difficult to do, but I'm always grateful to learn as I build, and this was a fun experience to do so. Overall, I really enjoyed building Squid Game sets, especially since LEGO will never do them themselves, but that's understandable. My favorite still remains to be hide and seek. I love the colors, and the overall scene is just great in my opinion. Let me know which one was your favorite and what you thought of the final season, and subscribe. Bye.